let's try this again. Alright, welcome back. I tried to start this video at the beginning of the entire process, but due to some personal issues and what I was dealing with at that point in time, I kept making this face. And as I'm editing this video now, I'd prefer not to start off that negatively, so let's try this again. So this is the new video introduction for the making of the perfect fall dress. So fall is my favorite time of the year, and it is the perfect time to wear all of the cozy cottagecore-esque outfits and just frolic through all the crisp leaves. I made this dress a while ago and I really love it, but it does skew more spring and summer, which is when I often wear it. And I'd love to have something in this silhouette, but made out of this linen that I bought from Blackbird Fabrics. So this is their soft wash linen in the color Nutmeg. It is so soft and easy to work with, and it is such a nice quality as well. I bought this fabric at the beginning of summer, and I had an idea of what I wanted to do with it, but I was just kind of hoping that I had bought enough. So with this introduction complete, let's move on to the process. Starting off where my last video also began, I bought both of these linen fabrics together and had the urge to use them both at the same time. I was in the drafting mood and wanted to draft the bodice at the same time that I was drafting the pants for my linen set. I had a general idea of what I wanted and used previous dresses that I had made to reference for this new dress. Altering the pattern to create princess seams on the front and back while incorporating shirring to the side panels to make a very easy slip-on, slip-off situation. Also avoiding zippers again because I can. Pre-washing all the fabric and ironing it flat to prepare for cutting, which I did after I had finished making the linen set, which you can watch in my last video. Link will be in the description. So I already made my pattern, so I can just go right ahead and cut into this. I'm not sure I have enough fabric, so I'm going to make the skirt first because if all else fails, I want a nice flowy skirt made of this fabric, and I'll just deal with the fact that I can't have a dress. I'm following my method of making the skirt like I did the green sheer dress, by doubling my waist measurement and adding 2 triangle panels to create more flare at the bottom, then multiplying the bottom of the new shape by 1.5 to create a new ruffled edge. It's so nice to cut fabric that has straight line patterns on grain, and since these squares are a ½ inch, they're very easy to measure as well. I saved these pockets that I made for my purple bedsheet dress after fully finishing them and then ripping them out. I wanted to create these little patches for the pockets so that if the pocket gapes open, the lining will be camouflaged by these pieces. All I'm doing for this tiny patch is serging the edges, then sewing them down and flipping it to create a clean line for my hand to slide past in the pocket. It's obviously easier to use matching fabric for pockets, but I needed to be as frugal with this fabric as I could. I was already asking a lot for a gathered skirt and gathered ruffled edge. Once the pockets are ready, I pin them to the front skirt panel 4½ inches down from the top edge. On the back skirt panel, I'm adding the triangle pieces along with the pockets before I bring everything to the sewing machine. Now that the triangles and pockets are attached, I can match up the side seams and sew around the pockets to finish them off. Next was piecing together all of the ruffled edge pieces before adding gathering stitches along the top edge of both the skirt and the ruffled edge. It takes time to gather all these edges, but I like the payoff. I pinned and spaced out the gathers of the ruffled layer onto the bottom of the skirt, sewed it down, and then top stitched. I measured out the bottom edge of the skirt and made the ruffle 1.5 times wider. But if I had enough fabric, I would have gone for double just so that I could have more to gather. I can now see how it's coming together, and I'm so happy with how it looks as a skirt. But I might have enough fabric to piece a bodice together, so I took the chance. I'm a visual person and I like to see how things will look before I cut any fabric, so turning myself into a mannequin and pinning the fabric onto me helps visualize. Once I was happy with how it would look, I brought out my pattern pieces that I drafted at the beginning and started cutting. I started by piecing together the back using scrap pieces to fit my pattern. This took some time again and would be a lot easier to just have more fabric to use, but I liked the challenge. Now that I had enough fabric to lay out my back pattern piece, I could cut it out along with the front panel. The new technique I've been wanting to try is adding sheared side panels for a snug fit. I measured out a long piece of fabric to shear back and forth to then cut into the side panel shapes that I needed. I sewed 2 lines of straight stitches so that I could cut the panel in 2 and still keep the elastic intact. I thought it would be easier to do this instead of shearing 2 separate panels, and I think it was worth it. Luckily, because it's so stretchy, I didn't have to worry about being perfect. I added a piece of elastic to the top edge to neatly turn and keep the stretch, and then they were ready to add to the front and back. Leaving a 1/2 inch space at the top of the front and back pieces, I pinned and sewed on the sheared side panels. I was very surprised at how comfy it was and allowed some good stretch and wiggle room to pull it over my head or hips. Because I didn't have enough fabric to line the bodice, I used this old pillowcase to cut out the front and back pieces and then sandwich them onto the sides where I had just attached the side panels. I don't show it well in these clips, but after attaching one side, right sides together, then I reach the liner around to the other side of the panel I'm lining, then flipping it out so that both seams are enclosed. I hope that explains it. Now everything was lined and the shearing had some more stitches to lock it down. I finished off this side of the bodice as I attached the lining, and then I top stitched down before ironing. I've been trying to get into the habit of every time that I make something that I am currently filming, I want to get better at immediately editing the footage and processing it into a video, because right now I wait until I have a few backlogs of different projects that I'm working on. At this point right now, I am currently editing and exporting the video for the purple bedsheet dress that I made along with the crochet bag, and I made that in July. Currently right now it is September, closer almost to October, so I just get really behind, and then I suffer because now I have to go through all this stuff on top of everything else that I'm currently making. So my own fault. Trying to get better and find a process and a flow that works for me. But anyway, so As of right now, the bodice is fairly finished. I just have to add the straps. Okay, finally exported, so back to work. Aye aye, Captain. Now just to pin the bodice to the top of the skirt. Again, I love full skirts and would have loved to have more gathering at the waist, but I'll stop complaining about not having enough fabric because I do really like how it turned out. Measuring the distance between the tops of the front and back to measure how long I need my straps to be. I made this 1/2-inch bias tape to place along the tops of the front and back bodice, along with connecting them with straps. Trying it on to double check my measurements because I had to make the straps even shorter due to the weight of the dress. Last thing to do was a double turned hem, but after that I was done. And this was the only thing left over from 1.5 meters of fabric. I think I have my new favorite fall dress. The yang to my green floral dress, and I couldn't be happier. I wanted to make this type of dress again because it's my most worn handmade garment, and it's so easy to pair with outfits. I was very surprised that I was able to squeeze out a dress from 1.5 meters of fabric. Now that I'm finishing editing this in the fall, I can look back at all the bug bites that I got this summer and say goodbye to them for the year. I surprised myself at how well the sheared panel turned out, and now I want to incorporate it into some other designs. This fabric is great. I love the weight and the quality of it, and indeed went back to the website to buy some more linen because I can't help myself now. The main reason why I wanted to use up the fabric that I had bought from the beginning of summer was because I had already made another purchase on the website, and I didn't want to have 2 packages unopened and unused from their website. It needed to be done. Sneak peek. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of what I do, you can click the links below. It'll take you to a video of me making a linen set out of some more linen from Blackbird Fabrics in this beautiful stripe. Or if you like thrifting, you can see some of my other videos that I made this past summer of making 2 bedsheet dresses. Although I love using new fabric, there's nothing better than using recycled fabric at a cheaper price. Like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of this dress, and if you are also very happy that the mosquitoes are going away for this fall season, because I am. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again. Bye.